Looks like we're going to be having, most likelihood, we're going to have the two competitors checking out the caves near start to begin. There's a number of open caves around there. They're looking to get some form of weapon. Unlike the previous race, where we saw them, the competitors go almost 55 minutes without even getting a single weapon. Instead, here we're seeing the two competitors walk into the opening cave, at least getting some money before they set out on their adventures, which can be good, but also can be bad since they may run into door repairs, lose some of that money. Okay. Well, it sounds like we're pretty well synced up, I believe, with the stream here. If for some reason one of us is starting to talk ahead, feel free to let me know. I can always pause my stream and catch back down. But anyway, competitors are now checking out the open caves first near start, and now they've checked the one over to west of start, and now they're heading up slowly towards the shop where you normally would buy the arrow and the blue ring. Blue Rings is actually located normally under an Armos statue. That provides some additional benefits. Oh, I take it back. It looks like, let me see, it looks like Paratroopa is actually heading down to the level 3 area to check things out. It's an interesting strategy, and he's finding a bunch of friends that he really doesn't want to spend too much time around. But he does find the any roads that he has, so these will allow him to potentially move around the map very quickly, including a spot up near level 9, which could be fortuitous if... Oh, it actually leads to a level.
Yeah, you never know, and it's a definite fun risk to see how these guys adjust as we move along throughout this early part of the race.
And it looks like Paratroopa is starting to explore this level here. It looks like level 8 based on what we've seen, but wow, the Dave finds the item that's hidden under an Armos, and that will be incredibly useful for dungeons. He has found the ladder.
Oh, absolutely. It's not like a dungeon where you gotta dig deep through 8 dungeons to find where the ladder is.
Yeah, I mean, that's often been a issue for a lot of the randomizer seats, but just the fact that he has that right now is going to be invaluable for him in preventing any ladder blocks. You could potentially be ladder blocked in any dungeon from level 4 up through level 9. So running into the ladder now will completely prevent that, allowing him to quickly be able to traverse these dungeons, hopefully without too much trouble.
And it also gives you the item on the coast.
That is also true, which could be very useful. Paratroopa is discovering the fact that there is an item in the room that he is in now. It is blocked by Goma. You can clip through this room if you are really fast without a weapon. And he does have bombs, so he could technically try to do a bomb clip, but that's generally inadvisable with the fact that it will waste a very precious bomb. On the other
especially
side...
if Goma
Goma
clips you with a fireball.
Exactly. He's shooting the fireballs pretty constantly. You have a very tiny window to try to make that clip, and Paratroopa is now escaping the level now that he has obtained what he could from the level in terms of a couple of keys and some bombs, which will be very useful for him up until the point where he gets a wood sword or any sword play.
And until you find a wood sword, you're just going to try to explore at this moment until you find such an item or something that helps you get at least something you can have in combat.
Exactly. You need to have something that will help you. I mean, a candle works okay. It's certainly not the most recommended weapon, but it can be done. Ooh, and the Dave getting bodied by the blue Goma. So I'm wondering if he will escape, or if he's going to hope that this is one of the items, since in level 8 there are actually 2 items. There's 4 staircases, 2 of which connect to each other, and the other 2 have items. So he's probably hoping he can pass Goma here and get an item, but it's really tough because Goma's going to do a lot of damage to him if he tries to hug him. Ooh. Once again, as we see, the blue Goma doing 2 hearts of damage on any contact, so there's not much wiggle room here for the Dave. While Paratroopa is continuing his search for ideally for the wooden sword, actually try and find any cave. At this point in the game, any information you find is valuable. Even if you find, okay, there's a level here, okay, here's a shop, that can all be very useful. Fortunately, they're discovering the fact that the coast item, not the coast item, but the fact that the door repair charge screens are having a very short community so it's just LOL, which will not give them much time if they decide they wanted to try to up A and skip losing the rupees. So the most likelihood, any cave they walk into where the door repair is coming, they're going to lose money on that one.
Which is tough until you find a ring.
Agreed. And it comes down, we'll have to see what happens with this seed, whether or not these competitors feel comfortable traversing level 9, for example, with the wooden sword. Actually, really interesting. The fourth of the any roads ended up in the Death Mountain area, and the Dave is actually doing the exploration there. There are some people who wouldn't be doing this exploration using those bombs initially as weapons, or possibly saving them for heading towards, let's say, the northeast, where there's a couple of bomb spots and a bunch of open caves. Up in Death Mountain, there are no open caves, so you know the wood sword won't be up here.
Yep. But he took a bonk from a Tettite and ended up wasting away one of those bombs.
That's still, the fact that he's been going back now down to start is probably actually going to be better for him. That way he can make sure that he has what he needs to be able to get going here. Looks like he's going to try bombing the screen north of start. And discovering that's where level 9 will be. This will save him some searching later on. Meanwhile, Paratroopa is heading towards the normal level 1. Again, another open cave, so you can see if there's a sword here, and then he'll probably progress from here to the northeast if there's no sword in there, and there does not appear to be a sword there. While I think the Dave is probably heading, he's heading back, I'm guessing, to the Any roads, hoping to then take that back up to Death Mountain. Although going to Death Mountain right now might not be the best. He's heading right now to get a potion, but he might take the road that took him to level 6. Or he may not have seen that one yet. I don't remember if he specifically saw that one or not, but if he takes the one over to level 6, there's a few caves over there. Paratrooper's now heading back to, I think, fill his hearts up at the Fairy Fountain. He checked another one of the open caves there, the Desert Shop, as we typically refer to it. Right now, we're, as we said, we both have them having the ladder now, so theory at some point soon we should be seeing them trying to head towards the ladder item. You might actually see, okay, we now know where the white sword is thanks to the Dave.
Yes, we do.
Located in the bottom left corner of the map, which is an amazingly inconvenient spot. Actually surprised he's up Aing. I was expecting what he would consider doing was then traverse the Lost Woods and do a world wrap, but I'm not sure how his screen scrolls are, so it's possible his screen scrolling isn't feeling comfortable enough to go for the world wrap.
Yeah, and you've got to have that kind of knowledge of knowing where exactly you need to be to pull that off.
You have to have, again, playing the randomizer does not require any of these glitches. They certainly are helpful in some cases, but it does not require any glitches to be able to beat any of the games. So it comes down to, again, comfort level of the players, and if you don't feel comfortable doing a world wrap, you don't do the world wrap. So again, it comes down to how they feel comfortable.
And coming back to that, if you find a Goma blocking a staircase, that's not going to be the bow inside.
Correct. The bow cannot be blocked by a Goma by any means, either directly or indirectly, like the Goma blocking a recorder and Dig Dogger sitting in front of one of those. So you do know that the bow was not in that one staircase. It doesn't tell you anything else about what's underneath it. You just know the bow wasn't there.
Yeah, because very well still could be Silver Arrow, right?
Exactly. It could be Silver Arrow, could be anything else. And to answer a question that was being posed in the chat, Paratroopa unfortunately passes away after discovering that the ladder item is the recorder, which can be an incredibly useful item to get, especially if you get it in the early going for traversing Hyrule. But anyway, the wood sword can be under any open cave that you can access with nothing but your bare hands. That means any open cave or any Armos statue that you could move just by moving it. Anything else where you'd have to bomb it or sail across the ocean, you can never have a wood sword.
And it also can be inside the tombstone, right?
Yes, it can be inside the tombstone, yes, because you can push that one, so it's potentially could be in the tombstone over near level 6.
So that gives them all of I think it's 28 is what I counted, 28 possibilities of where that wood sword can be.
Yeah, it sounds just about right.
However,
In
the
fact,
Dave finds it.
yep, he found it under the, again, answering the question perfectly. I love it when the randomizer just conveniently happens to give us that example. The Dave finding it under the Armos. And it'll be interesting to see what our friendly neighborhood paratroop is doing here, because he decides to skip over that Armos. Well, it might just be the fact that he may loop himself back around.
The Dave finding that the low end secret is 1 rupee.
Oh, that is always beautiful. I love it when that happens. Paratroopa finding the letter, amazingly, in the letter cave. Did we shuffle this seat properly?
I know, and the Dave is going to find this out as well. Thank you.
Okay. And so now our racers, at least Paratroopa, has found what I would appear to be on the surface letter 2, a level 2.
Letter 2, huh? This stream is brought to you by the number C.
C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. And so they're both actually traversing this at the same time, but it'll be far easier for the Dave to be able to traverse this level as he goes through, because he does in fact have a sword, whereas Paratroopa, I think, is hoping to potentially pick something up on the ground in here that will end up helping his search. And he is either key or bomb blocked out of his search. He discovered that the old man who was in there is trying to sell him some bombs for 115 rupees. That could potentially give him anywhere from a capacity increase of 2 to 6 rupees. We don't know how many it will be until he makes the purchase.
2 to 6 rupees, huh?
Sorry, 2 to 6 bomb upgrade for that 115 rupees. Paratroop is heading up now.
What would you do without me, Fred?
Sorry? I don't know. I don't know where I'd be. Probably, unfortunately, sitting in the basement here in Rhode Island, drinking iced tea. Oh wait, that's what I'm doing right now. And now the Dave's actually using that key to go through, which is probably a good strategy at this point. You know, most of level 2 can be traversed usually without too many keys. Level 2 gives you a decent number of keys in return, and on top of that, it's a dark nut set, so hopefully he'll be able to work around that and be able to use obstacles and rooms to dodge the dark nuts and get through quickly. Find the item, for that matter. Having poor luck with his bombs, unfortunately, though. Paratroopa on the other side there, he is now heading up to the normal level 5 to check that out, that area, the waterfall and the white sword. He found a hint shop, so that shop had 3 hints in it. They may be trolly on this set of flags. They may provide valuable information, such as the location of the silver arrows, the location of the bow, location of the book, which some could consider valuable because then you don't have to check that level.
And they're very expensive today, too.
Yes, they can range anywhere from 10 to 60 rupees, so seeing a number end up that high is definitely something, that would be considerably high. I don't expect either racer will end up purchasing any of those anytime soon, especially with the 1 rupee from the low secret. But we haven't seen the high secret yet, so we don't know whether or not they'll be rolling in money or not.
And as I found out during the last race that I did, the high-end secret can be up to as much as 150 rupees.
Correct. The high secret can range anywhere from 50 rupees on the low end up to 150 on the high end. Medium secret can range anywhere from 25 to 40, so you usually get slight inflation on that front. And then the low secret can be anywhere from 1 to 20, as we discovered in this race. They're definitely at the very low end. Dave playing very cautious here. He wants those keys desperately, but at the same time he has half a heart, and any tiny touch from those pesky Gibdos will end his quest to achieve the key. He's still hunting also for the item 1 here, or in 2. He would ideally like to find it without having to do too much killing, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, as much time as he's invested into this dungeon, he would love to be able to get it, but
That's an
a
interesting
nice,
decision there.
easy Triforce, though.
The
At least you
Triforce
didn't have to kill to get it.
I was interested because, some of the Dark Nut rooms, fine, you skip those. The room with the 2 Zols in it, I would have cleared that room because that was definitely a drop. Might have given him some bombs. It might have given him, the dungeon item, even a heart maybe that could have potentially helped him towards the White Sword. It felt like that one might have been. I mean, that may end up costing him long term.
We'll find out in the due time, because obviously there are certain items you need to have in this game before you go to night.
Correct. Technically, the only 2 items in Randomizer that you need if you are forcing the killing of Ganon are the silver arrows and the bow in order to fire the silver arrows. In most likelihood, the latter will be required. Certain items are normally required in the course of the game, such as the recorder, the power bracelet. Those are not strictly required within Randomizer. There certainly can run up into blocks of those, but they're not necessarily required. And then items such as the boomerang. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we find Paratroopa in a Wizrobe dungeon.
Yes, he's in a Wizrobe dungeon, but fortunately, the staircase within level 3 here was merely guarded by some traps, so he just had to do some fine dodging to get through, and he discovers the power bracelet, which may be required for this race. It may not be. We'll only find out when the time comes.
Yep, and now the Dave finds the very same dungeon where Vanilla 2 is located.
Oh, ouch. That is a room to have to kill for the Triforce. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And Paratroopa is making the interesting choice to abandon ship. I mean, at least this way it's quick to come back to later, but he had 8 bombs. I might have played duck out and drop some bombs in that room.
Well, that's an idea. The problem is that if you get hit with one of those beams from any of those orange Wizrobes, you're done for.
That's true, but usually you can at least see where they're coming from. Not always, but you can see when they appear, it's going to be like on a rhythm. They're going to appear, and after a couple seconds, they're going to fire. And so you would be able to potentially work around that.
And Paratroopa now grabbing... Yeah, I was going to say, Paratroopa now just grabbed the recorder.
Yep, so
now
he's exploring. We'll see what happens with the Dave here.
Yeah, this is an interesting triple trap room right there. Especially when you have 1 heart, and if they hit you, you're done. Now he's going to find out what we all already know.
No, he exited without doing that. Okay, so... yeah, he's doing what I was suggesting that you can do is if you're hiding in the door, you could see where the Wizrobes approach, and as long as the Wizrobes appear, you get a couple of Wizrobes on that second or third spot, you could either drop a quick bomb, or you could hit them with a sword, as Paratroopa on the other end of the stick here discovers a level hidden just west of start.
I'm going to give both of these guys credit for how they were able to get around that triple trap, because that is very tricky, as Paratroopa finds another dungeon.
It's looking like 7 here, especially with the rooms on the second row. This is going to be level 7.
And this is not a dungeon you want to be lost in.
No, I mean, this level 7 has about 33 rooms that you have to potentially navigate. It is a very big dungeon. You get 1 item out of it, and therefore it's definitely not an easy to be able to go through. And he now has the compass, which is incredibly valuable.
And meanwhile, the Dave is tackling the oh shoot room once again, and he gets through it. He's gonna get the Triforce.
That's all you want at this point. You might be able to get some keys later on, because level 2 is no enriching keys, but especially with the gigantic issue of Wizrobes in there, you're probably going to sit here for now, not really doing anything, and keep going.
Oh, and he's going back into 3.
It's an interesting decision. Maybe he wants the keys. Maybe he wants to try to get a heart container since he knows where White Sword is. I think it's a little risky here.
I think so too in a Wizrobe dungeon, but
But as I
See
said,
if
it's an
this-
interesting strategic decision here. He explored all of 6 rooms, so there's a chance he could find something that will be of value. For example, the hint to level 4.
Yep. And meanwhile, the Paratroopa gets the hint about Death Mountain, and the Dave gets it. What was it? The coast?
I believe that was on the coast, is what it said. So
Okay. And Paratroopa gets his first Triforce in 7. Hopefully, he does not have to come back to that.
it's a great dungeon to get that early compass in. And again, if the Dave doesn't end up taking that quick turn, he may find getting a lead, especially with the fact that the Triforce was so easy to reach once you had the compass.
And now Paratroopa knows what the Dave knows, where level 9 is.
Absolutely.
I still think this is an interesting decision here by the Dave. It looks like he is key grabbing, but I
Paying
don't
off
know.
so far.
But it's really a tricky decision. We'll find out later on. I mean, keys can, as he takes a death, keys can end up being a problem in later dungeons if you don't find the any key.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, now he's leaving, which is what he should be doing. He made a bit of exploration, hoping to find something easily laying on the floor, because there are a few rooms in level 3 where items, as we saw, are just laying on the floor, or you get something like Vyres, who are not a huge threat to deal with. And so he was able to pick up a couple of keys with only a couple minutes work. Meanwhile, Paratroopa is starting to bomb Death Mountain here to try to get some additional, try to see if he can find additional dungeons.
Yep, and he knows that level 8 is up there, but he has already been there before, hasn't he? Yeah, he has it marked on his map.
He ran out of bombs last time when he was up here, so he's missing a couple of key areas up here that he had wanted to explore.
Yeah, but you don't want to leave something uncovered.
Exactly. I mean, it comes down to the amount of time it will take you. I mean, if you're going back up there just for one cave, it's worth saving that one probably to the end or until you have to go up to that general area for something else. If you're going up there for, in this case, he had like 3 or 4. Now, you almost wonder if he's going to still want to do that, or if he's going to want to go somewhere else, like maybe take care of the Dead Woods, for example. I believe he has a candle at this point, or maybe he's not the one who has a candle. I've been getting a little bit confused, but he could try to burn the Dead Woods if he has the candle. He does not have the candle. Never mind. Scratch that. I forgot. That's
Scratch that. Reverse that.
Exactly. The Dave now apparently deciding the recorder's not worth it, so he's walking away.
That's just an interesting decision. It really is.
That's fighting 6 finals for something that he might need, or maybe he's coming back now. Okay, maybe he just wanted to try to get a drop or something. No, he's skipping it. He's flat out. He's flat out flaunting that recorder, saying, "I don't need this at all."
By the way, did you see what happened in that last race?
I was gonna say, that was a amazing race I saw. I saw the tail end of it. I didn't see most of the beginning of it. I know they were swordless up until about 55, 56 minutes. And then they both were in 9, almost room for a while.
Yeah. And if we're talking taunts, I think that probably was the biggest taunt ever.
Oh gosh, I forgot about the taunt. Yes, that was amazing.
It's not something, honestly, that we would want to see every racer do, but oh my goodness.
It was a completely unexpected little one, and turned out to be an absolutely awesome little thing. I'm seeing people mentioning in chat, too, it's possible that the Dave just forgotten that he has the ladder, and so it might be that's the reason that he didn't grab the recorder as he walked by. I don't think one would ever taunt the recorder. Very nicely, we've discovered, although we can't... Also,
I said, dealing with Lionels at that point in time, you want to try to stay alive, so especially when you're far away from the start, because it's a lot of time loss if you end up taking a
agreed, but at the same time, that recorder is invaluable, and if he gets it, take himself, if I remember correctly, back to the green tree in the northeast. And he could also take himself he did get the Triforce in level 3, so he could take himself to level 2, so he could recover himself back to that general area of the map very quickly with that.
Paratroopa now grabbing the candle.
Yep, he has to say, and the Dave discovered the price of the candle, so he's insufficient rupees to be able to do at this point.
It's always tough when you have insufficient funds.
Agreed, and especially with these LOL bank error essentially, they're losing a lot of money fast.
Now, an interesting decision here. Hope this pays off for him. You know, this could have been dangerous there dealing with that Lionel on a narrow passage.
Agree. That fighting Lionels is always a really tough thing to be able to do. Oh, and speaking of more Lionels.
3 screens worth of them, and he didn't... I think he just took one bump.
He took a bonk on a different screen because he would have taken even more damage. Exactly.
Yeah. As he transverses and now makes it to that final cave here in the northern part of Death Mountain.
I am really surprised he's heading up to the Death Mountain area with the fact that he just picked up a candle and was in the bottom left corner. Unless he's planning to come back later.
I think because he has full bombs, he might as well clear out this area now while he has them.
I would have said, though, from where he was, he could have gone, north into the Dead Woods, immediately exited the Death Woods, although he does find
he
area,
finds a dungeon
transition room. So this is looking like a level 1.
Could be 1
or 6. No, this is 1. This is definitely 1.
And if this is 1, this is pretty big because we both know 2 items.
2 items laying out. He has a wood sword, and it's a nice, easy enemy set. He finds a heart. We don't know officially if that heart is the item, or if it happens to be the item that would normally be where the Triforce, that would normally be on the coast, the heart container there. But we'll find out if he finds the second heart in this dungeon. We'll know that it was the heart.
Meanwhile, the Dave finding level 7.
Yep, and so we'll see if he happens to go through the same quick process that Paratroopa went through earlier. Troopa having some of the Dodongos eat a bomb on him, so he's now starting to get towards the dangerous area of... Okay, now he should be fine. He's able to force a bomb drop off the Dodongo.
Yeah, the 3 Dodongo room can't be fun, especially if they are eating the bombs instead of getting stun lock.
Completely agreed. If they decide to eat the bombs on you, all of a sudden you can run out of bombs, and if they just do standard, take the wrong turn tricks, you're gonna be in trouble. And we find the other bomb upgrade here in level 7.
So Paratroopa finding where the Triforce is.
He actually walked through that room, he cleared that, so, oh my gosh. That is a slightly useful find on the floor there for Paratroopa. He has discovered the silver arrows, so now he has one of the 2 items he requires to beat Ganon.
And he now knows that the bow obviously can't be a 9.
That's true, so yeah, he'll be able to find the bow. He just has to hunt that down. And the Dave here is actually going to get a very pleasant treat. He has found the Triforce in level 7 without the compass. He just checked out the chin. It happens to be the similar strategy to what I do. I tend to just by default not go to the chin. Go to the chin first just to try to make sure I don't explore the top unless the bottom's pretty clear. And he is getting the heck out of dodge the way he should be.
Yeah, 7, as we mentioned before, is a dungeon you do not want to get yourself lost into. You can really consume a lot of time and come up very empty if it's a bad item.
It is possible they'll have to go back in and get that. We have seen some races like that throughout the tournament here and in other fun matches everyone's been having, but you're going to see as time goes on there, it may be valuable. Most of the time, the effort it takes is completely a waste of time.
Paratroopa finding the staircase, and we're going to find out soon what that second item in 1 is.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Level 1 is a godsend.
My goodness.
This seed, all you technically need to do is level 1 and possibly wander around the overworld to get the Armos, and that's technically all the items you strictly need. bit interesting. Will we see if Paratrooper here goes and tries to rustle up another key or so? No, he does not. He just takes the Triforce and runs.
Absolutely. Big break for him now knowing that 7 does not have anything important in it. Unless
it
the
could
very
have something like
chance.
a red ring, or it possibly could still have a recorder for blocking, or the raft potentially, but low probability.
We know where the recorder is.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Recorder's on the coast. So you're right. The only possible block at this point would be the raft.
Absolutely. So, unless it's that slim chance that you need the raft to get to a dungeon. And as far as we are concerned, what dungeons have we not found so far?
We've seen. We haven't found level 4 officially. Although we know it's on the coast, which is always potential of that raft. Not necessarily a high potential, but they still have the 3 bombable spots on the coast left, I believe. Although actually, Paratroop has taken one of them off the board for us. There's 2 bombable spots on the coast still left, and the raft and a power whistle slot. I believe, although the power whistle slot may be actually the Lost Hills. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should actually go back and double check.
I believe that is Lost Hills.
Yeah, so actually at this point then it's 2 bombable spots or a raft. One of those 3 at this point. So there still may need to sail across the water.
Yeah, that is confirmed that it is Lost Hills.
Yeah. As I said, we had it originally it was part of the coast, a developmental story, and then we realized Lost Hills needed a little bit extra. So we relocated that area early on in development over to the
magical sword. Magical sword being on Death Mountain, so that'll be an interesting strategy. Will they come back to get it if they ever have enough hearts for it?
Yeah, there's not really a great level anywhere near close for walking purposes there, so they would have to commit a lot of time. I think it would come down to how comfortable they feel beating the game on White Sword, since they're like they all know where the White Sword is.
Both swords are kind of in a really bad location. Ooh, a really good high-end secret.
And that's going to be invaluable for these racers. First of all, if they need something like the blue ring to purchase, they're not going to need to purchase candle anymore. They're not going to need to purchase arrows, as we've discovered. So there's going to be a debate on that. This also is really valuable for Paratroopa. In addition to possibly being able to do red ring, he has the ability to fire arrows off at enemies, which is very valuable. He's got a very deep quiver. And I think he may have found level 4, so at the moment, it is level 4 appears to be Dig Dogger blocked. Yeah.
But the Triforce is in that same room.
Yeah. So at this point, now this is an interesting decision to make because he does have the record. Okay, so he's going to, looks like, go back in. The debate would be whether or not you want to actually go back into 4 to get whatever items in here, and have to fight the Dig Dogger as part of the process, especially where he has 1 bomb. Although it looks like I think he's 2. Oh, interesting. I was expecting a switch over to silver arrows here for the fight against the Dig Dogger, to try to quickly take out at least one of the heads.
I'm wondering if Paratroopa just doesn't realize he can use them against the Dig Dogger.
Yeah, certainly possible. He's decided, especially since he has the recorder, he's leaving now, which I think is actually the best decision at this point. You have the recorder, you can come back here at any time if you need to later on. And since you don't have bombs, it's a hard fight to fight the Dig Dogger there.
If he finds where the blue ring is, he probably will pick that up and not worry about where the red ring is.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not going to worry about that. I mean, the only item I think he would really like at this point is finding the magical key. I think that's like the main item that he would care about.
Ooh. He finds the other one. He finds one of the 3 big secrets. He just now found 2 of them, but he only gets about 10 rupees out of it.
Something like that, exactly. Now, as I say, this is actually really nice, as Dave is now traversing level 1, so we know where he's going to find it in the next 2 to 3 minutes probably. Paratrooper's going to have an interesting decision what to do here soon. He's now picking up a bunch of hearts. He's finding almost all the overworld hearts pretty much all in a row. At this point, you almost wonder if he's going to go get that white sword. the time spent here to up A and go get White Sword would probably be far more. I guess he's going to check out the couple areas up here. It looks like there's an area, 1 or 2 spots up here that he hasn't checked yet, so he's going to check those before he does the transport back to start.
He wants to at least make sure that he's got everything covered up on this end of the map. It's always bad when you leave behind a place or two.
Dave grabbing the Triforce first, which, I mean, when you only have 4 or 5 hearts, it's not the end of the world to do that first, but it's... I would have... Again, I personally leave it on the ground until after I've found everything in the dungeon.
He's going to go back into 2, which... Yeah, remember, he's yet to get the Triforce.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't get the Triforce here. He also didn't find the item on the floor, so... He does not have... Oh wait, no, this is Paratroopa. Never mind. Paratroopa does have the silver arrow. Never mind, I'm getting confused about which screen I'm looking at.
I was gonna say, he does have the silver arrow, so I mean, I would kind of use it to see if I can't get a heart off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you want, especially if you're in a Pulse Voice room, you want to kill those rooms without even thinking about it. And he has my... Will he... He's taking the bomb upgrade over the blue ring.
And it's only 2 bombs.
Still, it increases your capacity and essentially serves as a purchase of 4 bombs at that point. It's not...
It does, but it does suck when it gets 2.
Means almost certainly he won't be buying that bomb upgrade in level 7 if he goes back there. Unless he desperately needs some bombs at the very end of the race. He's gonna dodge this 4-headed Gliok of Doom. And unfortunately die to the body. It's always better to walk around the Glioks. The heads are the one piece that will do very little damage thanks to a programming bug. They will only do 3/8 of a heart of damage if you touch the heads that are attached to the body. The rest of the Gliok, it will do a full heart.
I'm not really agreeing with his decision to grab those bombs that were on the floor there. Yeah, you might need bombs later on, but you had 10 of them, so that pack of bombs was only for 1.
I do agree. He didn't necessarily need it, but I think he was hoping more to explore. I mean, at that point, it would have been just a 2-bomb grab. Again, probably not. It's probably not what I would have done, but I could at least see why he would at least bomb to try to go north from that room.
Oh no, I understand the bomb, the using of a bomb to go north. I just don't grabbing the bombs.
Yeah, I guess if you could get a quick grab, if that had been, he may have started to commit to that. I don't know if he had seen that it was a full 4-headed Gliok at the point. If he had seen that it was a 4-headed Gliok, I mean, I would have turned around. But if it was only a couple of heads, then you might be able to dodge fairly quickly to be able to grab the key. You might have been able to get lucky. Again, I'm not positive if that was the best plan, but
very well possible there, as the Dave is about to get some really good nose.
Absolutely, he now has the bow. I don't think he's gone over to the left yet to see the silver arrows, although I may have just missed that.
Oh no, he knows it. He just
he's got silver arrows. Yep. Good call. Oh my gosh, and that's the item that was missing from level 2. Wow.
Ooh,
that is incredibly useful here. Gives guarantees.
Yes, it is.
That's the red ring, which quadruples your defense, essentially. So that pretty much guarantees at this point that he can essentially tank damage against a large number of things without too much trouble. So at this point, he's going to take the Triforce. He has 7 hearts. He's incredibly happy. At this point, he can go get the White Sword if he needs to. And again, I haven't seen how much, with the amount he's been playing, I'd like to think that a White Sword, if he finds the letter, he should certainly be able to do level 9 without a problem. White Sword with Red Ring.
I think he'll be in fine shape as we watch the Dave. He's now exploring the northwest corner of Death Mountain.
And again, we saw only because of what Paratroop has done that it's not going to be much up here for him. But again, it's always good to leave no stone unturned, because there could easily be a level up here at some point. And if you explore further up. If you've missed a cave, you could be in trouble. Although he does pass away from a couple of the pack of 6 blue Lionels there. Painful.
Yeah,
painful way
and
to
that's
go.
that's a painful room, and it's even more painful the fact that he's got one spot there, and it might just etch into his mind. Oh, did I just leave behind something important?
At this point, though, there are bigger areas of the map that he needs to clear. He still needs to burn out the Lost Hills, not Lost Hills, the Dead Woods, which would be a really important place to clear out since he already knows the white swords down there.
Yep, that's correct.
That would therefore double his damage against anything else as he's walking along here. So I'm really surprised neither of these racers, especially since they both have candles, haven't gone down there yet.
That's
seeing
a decision we'll find out soon enough.
The Dave is heading right now over to the coast area, which we discovered earlier is very heart heavy. So he'll be getting a couple of hearts between here and the forest and finding the level 4 block.
And meanwhile, I believe we found the last remaining dungeon.
Found level 6 here? Yes, we did.
Actually, have we found 5 yet?
1? No, because no, we have not found 5. I thought we had found 5, and it turned out it was 7. But no, you're right. We have not found 5 yet. 5 is still MIA.
Yep. So there's still one dungeon still left in play here. As soon enough, Paratroopa will realize. I think he now will realize that he's in 6.
Grab the heart. He considered killing the Gliok, the Goma there. He had the silver arrows to be able to do that, but he decided in the end that the one heart he was going to save probably wasn't going to be worth it. And so he's skipping the Gliok for now. Good choice on his part.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's very good. He knows the layouts of his dungeons really well there. If you notice, the empty room in 6 is the only empty room in the first 8 dungeons that will not have a drop in it. So it's very interesting. He's a student of the game. He's learned that since there's no drop there, he knows he can avoid having to kill anything in that room. He just dodge the room and get through.
Mm-hmm. Now here's an interesting decision because we know that single block room does lead to a staircase, whether or not it's the item or just a transfer staircase, but he probably at this stage in the game with red ring, silver arrow, and bows is like, I don't need to go down staircases and fight darkness if I have to.
But it turns out that it was completely unnecessary, actually.
Oh, and he returns to that room.
Well, it's actually useful. It means he does not need to kill that one guy to get through. So it's actually really, really important. Again, he's showing his knowledge of the map of level 6. The room that Gliok would normally live in level 6 also does not have a drop in it. So as soon as he saw the layout of the room, he immediately turned and ran back to the other way. And he knows that his only path through is going to be taking the shutter door here in the river room to continue going through level 6.
This has been a very generous seed, though, of these players so far. Bow and silver arrow in 1. The ladder was the Armos item. Recorder was the ladder item. And the red ring was in 2.
Yeah, no, this has actually been a really nice seed for them. You'll potentially see some very fast times coming up, and we're already seeing some good times coming up here on the fact that the only issue right now is going to be finding where level 5 is hidden right now.
And Paratroopa finding the Triforce, he's going, goodbye, don't need that item.
And we'll see, interesting here, because the Dave is getting a lovely airplane-related reference there as part of one of the troll hints that he attempted to pay for. Those hints were at least considerably cheaper.
Yes, they were. Well, good luck, we're counting on you both. Or whatever that comment is. You know it.
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
Thank you.
And the Dave finding level 6 right now, he'll have a slightly harder time in this level because he does not have the requisite red ring, that would help out considerably. But just speaking of rings, our friendly neighborhood
Yep.
Paratrooper just discovers the blue ring shop, so it'll be interesting to see. Dave did get the Triforce in 2. He didn't get the item out of 2, so he's missing that red ring. I think we're going to be seeing him in green tunic most of the way here. We may see him go purchase the blue, especially with the hints that we've been seeing. Not the hints. With the rupee counts, especially for the large secrets, we may see him get the red ring soon.
And
Okay.
fire
Interesting.
the arrow to find the raft, by the way.
So that means, for those of you who don't know, that is a helpful hint. That means that the arrow will be required in order to obtain the raft if you don't know how to block clip necessarily. The game, again, assumes you don't use any clips, which means that that may actually be that that item in 8 that was Goma blocked. Since we had to take a the Goma to get the staircase to get to Goma, it may be that Goma was blocking the raft in that case.
The Dave wisely upping an ing after grabbing the treasure of the heart. Now, these players, you see them sometimes have different tunics. Like, for instance, the Dave is currently in a darkish green. That doesn't have any effect on how much damage they can take, because it's the equivalent of a regular green tunic.
Correct. That's one of the new options we added in Randomizer 2.4 was the option for players to be able to control what color the tunic was, allowing you to be able to, again, have a little bit of fun on what things. Oh, wow.
Under a lake.
This is going to come back, unfortunately, and bite the Dave here a bit, because, again, we saw him earlier walk by the recorder, not knowing whether or not he needed it, and it turns out it is under the lake, is where level 5 is hiding, so that's going to hurt him. Oh, okay, he did pick it up? Okay, I didn't think he had picked it up, but being told that he did go back and get it. Okay, I missed him grab it then.
I didn't even see it either. I guess we'll double check the next time he actually pauses. But Paratroopa 5
second screen, but then he just went straight up, I thought. But maybe, again, very possible I missed it. Okay, perfect.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much for the assistance there, Jam. As Paratroopa getting pancaked.
He's getting pancaked, and the Dave here trying to fight off the all the blue dark nuts here to find out that's the troll staircase. Well, it's not really a troll staircase, truly, but it's going to find out the hard way. Yeah, and completely unnecessary to take, and he's used up all his bombs, unfortunately, and
he died.
Then ends up passing away.
Meanwhile, Paratrooper taking a good staircase.
Yes, level 5 almost always is cut in 2. Doesn't always happen that way, but just by the geography of it and the fact that it has 3 old man rooms in it, oftentimes the level 5 will end up being cut in 2, and so taking that staircase ends up being very valuable.
And he finds a very valuable thing. But
yes.
Where is he going?
At this point, checking a couple extra rooms in 5. 5 is very key rich. Naturally, it has a lot of rooms with items lying on the floor. It's not perfect. He only has 3 keys, and it also would not hurt him to find the item if it turns out to be something like a silver. Oh, sorry, not silver arrow, but like the any key, for example. So it doesn't hurt him to at least poke a tiny bit.
And that's very true. That's very true.
A little tough in a Wizrobe dungeon, but again, he's got some potential. He doesn't necessarily want to spend a ton of time looking, but if he's got a room or 2 convenient nearby that right there, it's not a big hurt.
I'm sorry, by the way, we're seeing Dave make a play for the white sword.
Yeah, as he honestly should be at this point. Having that, doubling that damage, especially with some of the Wizrobe dungeons we've been seeing, is going to be very important.
Oh, it's springtime for Ganon in Hyrule. And the fruit of the labors, he does yield a key. It looks like he yields 2 keys, actually.
Yields 2 keys and at least now knows where the item would be. Now, what he could have done there, just for a teaching aside moment, for those of you who don't know the game, what he could have potentially done for that room is, in any given room where there are mixed enemies, the enemies always spawn in the same order, regardless of how you, how many and which ones you kill on the previous time you were in the room. So if the room has like that like room, which had a mix of likes, orange wizrobes, and blue wizrobes, what you would notice is the very first enemy that spawns, regardless again how well you kill them, is always a like. So what he could have done for that room that had the item in it, he could have potentially gone in and out, killed the likes each time. It would have been a little slow, but he would have guaranteed that by the end, all the likes, every single time he walked in the room, he could have killed at least one like and gotten to the item that way, and avoided killing blue wizrobes if he was feeling uncomfortable working on those. You'll see it sometimes in really tough rooms that you'll see some people do that, especially, if there's a river room that's tough to traverse, like an NSU room, for example, and there's a lot of wizrobes in there, you might see someone just kill the likes.
And by the way, we are seeing Paratroopa now make a play for the white sword, which is, at this stage in the game, a very good decision, as the Dave ends up perishing to that unfortunate blue Darknet room that we know is not required, but he doesn't at this moment.
Correct. Now it is interesting to see again how they're playing all this out here, because what I'm noticing a lot, especially having been playing this set of flags more and more, is the fact that white sword ends up often being what you're going to use level 9, at least for the really fast tournament people. You're going to pick up a few hearts enough to get to the white sword, but then the benefit for a magical sword often doesn't come up, and it's not worth making effort to grab, or maybe worth the effort to grab it, but typically the players end up getting only a couple of hearts out of the dungeons, and you're seeing that especially in Dave's case here, where he has 5 out of 8 Triforces. He's neck and neck with Paratroopa in terms of the Triforce count, but on the heart count, he's 2 hearts behind, and almost certainly with where he is right now, unless he happens to find a couple more hearts on the overworld, he's not going to get enough hearts to even make play at the magical sword for 10. And it's, at this point, also considerably out of the way. So most likely you're going to see everyone do that.
By the way, Paratroopa has 6 at this moment.
Yes, Paratroopa is only missing 3 and 8.
3 and 8, whereas the Dave currently 5, 6, and 8, as Paratroopa is making his way back into 8, and he's doing what is a really good idea. Go into the dungeon, leave, kill the moblins, and try to get your bomb drops.
Agreed. And the nice thing is the way that these end up working, if you enter and exit a dungeon, any room that has been completely cleared on the overworld will be completely cleared when you come back, will be refilled when you come back out. So this allows you to, in this case, especially with 5 blue enemies that guarantee drops, this allows you to be able to quickly kill them.
Yeah, an enemy that's on the bomb dropping group.
And so we're seeing here our friendly neighborhood paratroopers now going back into 8. Again, we saw earlier that this dungeon was, both have done quick explorations of it, but there are 2 items in here. At this point, Paratroopa, I believe, has seen every single dungeon, so for him, he's primarily looking to get the Triforce and get out. If he happens to find an ancillary item, great, but he knows where everything is. At this point, He just needs to get what he can and go. Ideally, picking up a key or 2, because he has 6 keys, but at the same time, that's the low end for me for comfortable for level 9. Level 9 can potentially have up to 15 key doors. Again, sometimes you can walk around some of them, but typically you're looking at potentially a large number of keys. As I said, for me at least, that's my low end of comfort. Ideally, I'd be trying to make my path through this dungeon here to try to avoid blowing a key if needed. Oh, and really useful for him. As unfortunately Dave is dying again to our friendly neighborhood committee of blue dark nuts.
So now Paratroopa knows he needs to go to the far north end of the dungeon. And how much longer would you see the Dave try to run through that blue dark nut? Would you at this point in time?
Somewhere around now. I mean, well, he's got the compass, and I think I would just make a direct run at the Triforce at this point. You have, again, it's not beautiful, and again, the other issue is he is very low on keys.
Yep. And the other thing is every time he ends up dying, and by the way, the wand is one of the items in 8. The issue is every time you die, you got to deal with those Gibdos in that locked door room every time. So
yeah,
now he died to them, and he'll have to deal with them again.
Agreed. It's definitely a tough thing to have to deal with there. Unfortunately, he's in a tough position. He's got to make that play. He unfortunately does have the disadvantage of being at wood sword level, but no ring level.
Yeah, he's at normal green tunic level.
Yeah, so he has a lot of potential trouble here. Again, at least he has the silver arrows, which basically count as a magical sword hit. So it only takes 2 hits to kill each Gibdo, so that helps. But
he had a little bit of frustration, and he took it out on the old man.
Ouch.
I know. I was waiting for your reaction to that, and it looks like he is going to have to blow a key door unless he can bomb to the right. And luckily, he can. But he ain't going to get anywhere. Because he can't handle the truth. He hit the old man again!
No.
Oh, Fred.
I didn't do it, I swear.
At least it's not taunting him by saying follow old man on Twitter.
The Twitter account does, in fact, I seem to be a little bit, I think I'm a little bit behind you. Where are you on your timing again? What's your time right now?
56:45 is where I'm at.
Okay. Thank you. That's fine. That's fine. Just keep to the head. It's always okay if we're slightly behind anyway, because we could do that. So thank you, Jam, for checking in.
Absolutely. And by the way, the Dave, while we were doing that, had gotten the Triforce out of the 6, so he finally learned his lesson, got out of dodge with those dark nuts. And this is an interesting strategy again. To just go right heads up against a Gliok.
Well, he has Red Ring at this point. He has Red Ring. He has a White Sword. So even a 4-headed Gliok is only going to take 5 + 9, 14 hits. So you can make it pretty quickly, especially if you're in among the heads, which is actually the safest place in the Gliok room to be. Because as I was saying earlier, everything else normally does a full heart of damage with no ring. But again, everything I'll say is no ring. But the heads will only do 3/8 of a heart of damage when they hit you.
Yep. Definitely an interesting strategy, and I'm now wondering what he's trying to go for. Is he trying to find the other item in 8?
Well, he needed to kill that Gliok in order to get up here to the Triforce in the first place. I think he was just exploring the side room while he was there. Again, it's one of those things. It's a minor commitment cost in time to potentially find something like the magical key.
Right. I knew that Gliok was required. Just it was an interesting strategy for him. But anyways, he now gets the Triforce out of 8. All he has to do is now return to 3, and luckily he knows not only where that is, but what he's up against when he returns.
That's true. He's definitely going to be in solid shape here. Let's see. Oh, interesting. That's right. Paratroop was heading back to that general area. When he came back over here, I was almost expecting him to be going into level 4.
The way he turned, yeah. Oh, he's going for some potions.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of the players, potion ends up being a very important safety tool, especially for defeating, for beating it with White Sword. It's a good crutch initially, to be able to go on. As you practice more and more, you'll find some of the really top players will look at the potion, laugh, and leave. but when you've got the ability to have the potion, I still find it very valuable to pick one up, even if you're not most of the time not going to use it. That one time you get deep in 9, saving yourself a potential trolley seed of 9, having to walk for a couple of minutes to get back to where you were when you died can be very cost a lot of time.
As he went to search a couple of these spots here.
I'm actually both checking them at the same time, basically. Paratroopa has to head back to
137.
Paratroopa has to head back to level 3 anyway. Paratroopa is now back in level 3 because he needs Triforce again. He was probably hoping to pick something up while he was there. The Dave's looks like he's probably consulting his notes, trying to figure out what else he needs here. He's missing 5 and 8. He knows where 8 is, but he doesn't know where 5 could be yet.
Yeah, and his decision here with level 5 could be very interesting because we know it's under the lake. He does not.
He's warping to the right part of the map to check that general area out. I mean, the main area that he hasn't checked out yet is the Dead Woods, so he's looking to get some bombs, and he'll be heading over as Paratroopa successfully clears that shoot room in level 3, and now he has 8 keys and can make his play to level 9.
Full bombs, 8 keys. As
unfortunately, it's got a warp point. And unfortunately, it's got a warp point right near there too. Otherwise, what I would have almost done would have been to up A, go hit a fairy fountain, and then go to 9. But fortunately, it's got the warp point that takes him right to level, right 2 screens away.
Absolutely, and we're going to see the Dave go for the blue ring.
It's definitely a worthwhile thing to do. He's not going back into 2. We know that he's not really hunting for items at this point. At this point, he needs to make a play, get Triforces, and get out. He needs to find, obviously, where level 5 is in the process, but that's
he's in the general red area, though.
Yeah. Try to...
And I'm going to turn on Paratroopa in my background here so I can hear if he can hear Ganon as he decides after the first room, no, he'll go to the left now.
If you're gonna go left, it's definitely a worthwhile thing to check that first room, see how things are going, see what you can hear. I have a personal tendency to head up when I enter a dungeon in level 9, or whether I enter level 9, just because your goal is to hear Ganon. You'll hear Ganon's roar if there's no Patra in the room. You'll hear Ganon's roar. And so your goal is to try to hear that. Now, admittedly, you'll hear that in any adjacent room to Ganon. If the Patra's there, and I guess technically briefly hear him before Patra's roar takes over, or at least, if you've got really good ears, you can apparently pick that up. But it's, again, a tough thing to be able to pick up. So oftentimes what you'll see players do is kill Patra, exit the room, and re-enter, and then the sound will go off if they're there. And the Dave finds level 5.
He does.
Well, he is low on bombs. It's a little bit concerning about what he's going to be doing here. And it is a Wizard
I hear Ganon.
Fortunately, Paratroopa has the silver arrow, so all he has to do is kill Ganon and then go and try to find Zelda. Ganon will take 8 hits. Yeah, Ganon will take 8 hits to kill because of the fact that he has the white sword. Gets 4 of them on a nice stun lock there. You have a very brief window that you can swing your sword after you hit Ganon before he teleports away in one of the corners there, and you can basically get a lock in place.
Paratroopa wisely using his potion.
Agreed. Ganon normally, if you have no ring on, Ganon touches you body to body, you lose 4 hearts of damage.
And he is able to knock out Ganon. Now, will he head north or head south?
He's heading north. Now, what he's looking for is when he enters a room, he's looking for a shutter door that opens when he enters there with enemies. And oh, look, he happens to find one. I don't know if he left that room really quickly. I'm not sure if he noticed it. But what he's looking for, we now know where Zelda is, and I think he does too, because I think he saw it. Based on the fact he's trying to get to the left.
He's trying to bomb to the left, yes. But there's still a possibility that a magic staircase keeps him out of it.
But he does now know exactly where Zelda is, as he's almost gets eaten by a like while he's marking that down. So now his goal is to get over to that room.
Mm-hmm. I think he was just wanting to confirm what he may have just heard.
Right. We're getting a little bit of Ralph Wiggum-isms here as continues down. Now he's got to try to find, as I said, his path to be able to get over to Zelda. So he's going to be trying to find any way he can, whether it's a staircase, whether it's taking a long road that goes through a couple of the screens that he may not have, goes up and around the blocks he was running into.
Now he's doing a technique here with this Patra with both the wand and the sword. Want to explain that?
Sure. So basically what happens is if you swing them both at the same time, when it hits the enemy, it will actually do the damage of the sword plus the damage of the wand. So on enemies where you can do damage to them with both of those weapons, you basically double your damage by when you swing them both at the same time. So in this case, he was hitting the each Patra piece with essentially the equivalent of a magical sword hit it.
Yeah, it makes it easier against those enemies.
Oh, significantly. It doesn't help against Wizrobes or things that are immune to the wand, but it definitely helps out with some of the other cases.
It's one of those cases where you can actually hit the buyers with it, as he now wisely up in A's, finding a room with Wizrobes and a locked door to the left. But it works with the virus too, because you can end up with a white sword and a combo wand hit, end up knocking them just like if you hit them with a magical sword.
Agree. It's not easy because you have to get that time. You have to hit them both at the same time, and the timing can be a little bit tight. But you can definitely do that, and it'll if you don't have magical silver arrows, for example, it can make life much easier.
As he takes a staircase, finds out it's not the right way he wants to go.
Oh, Dave unfortunately was playing the strat of bombing these 6 Wizrobes from the door, and unfortunately stepped back out through the door after he'd gotten some significant damage.
Got too close. He got too close.
Well, it's very tough because when you're doing that type of strategy, those blue Wizrobes can unfortunately come into the door with you if they're on the right tiles. So even the door doesn't provide you complete immunity unless you're very far back, kind of like you just saw him do as he was ducking back there.
Yeah, and anyone who's trying to hide from Wizrobes know when you take that damage when they're at the door, you're like, come on, game.
Oh, it's completely annoying.
It truly is. As Paratroopa gets pancaked and trying to find a way to the left.
And he's pretty much finding at this point that there does not seem to be a direct path left, I think. So he's kind of...
Now...
hope at this point it's looking like we are going to have some form of magical staircase at least to get to the left side of the map. You might be able to walk around, but it's going to be a very convoluted path.
I'm surprised he did not bomb left out of Ganon's room.
He already tried that.
He did?
He tried that one earlier, yeah.
Alright, I missed that one then.
And he's leaving now, looks like to go get himself some more explosive weaponry to be able to continue his request. Yeah, he ended up, after he discovered where Zelda was as he was coming back down, I believe he's bombed all of the left walls on that column that he's been in. I think this is pretty much saying, again, you're either going to have to have a very long path around, or we're looking at some form of required staircases to get through.
Absolutely, and this is a key spot here where marking your map properly when you use Z-Helper helps you out, because he's making his way to a bomb shop.
Yeah, and this definitely helps him out because he knows he can spend, well, in this case, he doesn't really need to spend this anymore because he had 9 bombs already, but because he just got some really good drops on the way up. Now, it's a really interesting technique that you can do here. I'll be interested to see if Paratroopa knows this trick. Let's wait and find out first. He's going to the fairy fountain. He does know the trick. If you up A when you're at the fairy fountain while the health is refilling, then when you choose to continue and reappear on the overworld, your health will continue to refill. So it can be a very much quicker way to be able to get from place to place. You just go into the fairy fountain, you get the refill, then you up A, and then start going to the next place you need to go from start. You can even recorder if you'd like while you're going, and the refill will continue.
It definitely helped you out with getting some major time saved.
Completely agree, because again, you get that full mobility now while the refill's going on. And the nice thing too is if you happen to get, hit by something while in the process of refilling, the refill continues until your hearts are full.
So you could get bopped by everything under the sun and still end up getting full replenishment.
Exactly. So very useful, especially if you're playing something like a one-hit knockout for fun, like some of us do occasionally for no good reason. If you do that and you get killed when you're trying to get refill work, and very nicely, Paratroopa takes a staircase which takes him to the left side of the map here.
Yep, now maybe a couple of rooms over, we'll see if it works.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes. He's directly right in the T room that he was in is directly to the left of Zelda's room, so he cannot bomb into that. And he finds right now, unfortunately, that this would if there were no glitches allowed, this would be a dead end.
This would be 3 troll rooms here to come out.
Correct. Now he does have the advantage because he and actually, as I say, the Dave now discovers that that bomb area was level 5. Level 5 was the silver arrow. Oh, that stinks for Paratroopa. One of the things that you'll know is whenever you have a T room. I'll explain that. Actually, Eldonia just asked a really good question. Let me explain that first. Eldonia just asked what a magical staircase is. Basically, we're referring to that concept of a magical staircase as you need to take a specific staircase in order to either get to Ganon or get to Zelda. Typically, you can't just walk there from start. So in our case, in the case here of this seed, what we're seeing is the racers are traversing level 9, but we're being bomb blocked all over the place, and ended up, in this case, being able to get to the end of the dungeon. In this case, getting to Zelda required taking a staircase, and it looked like it required a specific staircase too. So that's what we're referring to when we're calling it a magical staircase.
Because it's like in the regular game where you end up having to take a staircase to get to Ganon and Zelda that you can't get
4
to
staircases.
from any other way.
There's an incredibly specific path in the first case, and Randomizer, as you're playing it, you often notice you're going to get a lot of seeds where you're not necessarily going to require staircases necessarily to get to Ganon or Zelda. You can often walk there.
Like, for instance, we saw here, there was no need to take a staircase to get to Ganon.
Exactly. But, again, he was blocked off by walls, everything else. But yeah, so as we're going through here, what now we're going to see is, again, we're going to see Paratroopa do the save trick. The Dave is now starting to traverse the level 8. Last Triforce that he will need in order to get through to the dungeon. He does not know where he's going in here. He's also out of bombs, which could be very dangerous. I don't believe he strictly needed bombs, if I recall. I think if you took the staircase, you ended up near the Gliok room.
Yep, that's correct.
You didn't need them, but obviously level 8 does have a lot of bomb walls in it, so he could potentially feel like he's being stuck here until he gets that. And he's actually also really low on keys, which is also going to be dangerous. He gets to level 9.
Especially when he gets ready to head into 9.
But fortunately, there are some keys on the floor here, so hopefully we'll be able to get a few of those in time to make the level 9 search at least doable. I mean, we're seeing, at least with what's going on here with Paratroopa, that he's still at 6 keys. He hasn't had to use too many to search up to this point. Again, to get to what we were saying earlier, the T room is guaranteed to be accessed from both sides. So you're guaranteed that you can access. Guaranteed. That was really bad. That was not complete. That was not intended at all. But you're guaranteed to access the tea room from the bottom, and you're guaranteed to access the tea room from one of the sides at least. And from the room way he's in, we saw him bomb unsuccessfully to the right earlier. So he's actually guaranteed that if he bombs north, he'll be able to go north, and that somehow there's a path that you could get there normally without using the clip.
And by the way, I just want to point out real fast, this is not the only race that's going on at this moment. Bresticle and JVeth are going on right now, and we'll give you an update as soon as we can.
And so, unfortunately, as I say, this may save time for Paratroopa, although it's taking him a while to do this. It may still save him time if there is a path there. And the Dave discovers now the wand, which again will be very useful, especially if you're on White Sword. He's gonna want that to be able to get through. Interesting little spiral there by the. What did happen there? Oh, I'm wondering. I didn't see whether or not he bombed or not, but what may have happened there is he may have gotten too far north because of the ladder clip, and actually bombed above the hitbox for the wall. So he might not think that there's a way.
He thinks he's locked. He was no way out of that room.
Which, to be fair, you can technically that clip is not required to beat the dungeon. There is a path. It's just that now he's actually going to have to find the path.
And the thing is especially since you developed it, you've put in many safety flags in there that has allowed gamers of all kinds of skill types. There's no way that people can be blocked and only having to do such tricks in order to beat the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a possibility of a bug showing up somewhere. I will never deny that. We've seen our fair share of them during the course of various developments, but for the most part, yes, the goal is to not require block clips. The goal is to not require other types of issues on that. You don't have to clip blocks, you don't have to screen scroll. That's part of the reason the Lost Woods has never changed. I know exactly what we could do to randomize the Lost Woods, but don't want to change that because otherwise, the advanced players will just screen scroll through, and players who don't have the ability to screen scroll will then have to go try to find an appropriate hint and will lose a lot of time. So I never wanted people to have to do that. So
as Paratroopa now finds himself another staircase, will this get him closer to Zelda?
At some point you'd like to think so, because he's already gone through a large number of them. Okay, and this is good. It puts him on the right half of the map. He's on the left half. He, in theory, just needs to go up a number of rooms. He may have to take a more complicated path to get there. We'll see how things go from here. We expect that this item that the Dave's looking at, possibly killing the Goma for, should be the raft, based on the hint that we got earlier.
And it's interesting to me to see the Dave still trying to kill for items.
Again, remember, there's a number of dungeons he hasn't cleared. Still hasn't cleared 4. He hasn't cleared 1 or 2 other, or rather, he hasn't cleared them for items yet. He's still got a lot of them he's missing. So, especially with it being a red Goma, a very quick couple of shots to hit him to get the item would potentially allow him to, to be able to kill, to possibly get something like the red ring or the magical key, which especially right now, the magical key for him would be huge to find. Because he has 1 key right now. It's going to be an ugly 9 potentially.
Ooh, and you gotta transverse to the north to get to Zelda.
It looks like he's got the potential to do so.
You got it. You got it. A couple rooms down the door. The entrance to Zelda opens up. And Paratroopa will be moving on in this tournament.
Congratulations to Paratroopa. A very solid race, all things considered, especially considering, what you ended up having to see on the seed. That was a really good time for him on that.
1:19:01 is his official time on the race chat. And Lobsang also knows his fate. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Lobsang. Wonder if the Dave knows of his fate at this moment as he leaves level 8. And he ended up dying. I don't think he got the Triforce.
No, because the Triforce in level 8 was guarded by another Gleeok. So he killed the 4-headed Gleeok, lost most of his health in the process heading through there, and then ended up dying to the second Gleeok that was actually guarding the Triforce, because that was a drop. It required the drop. It wasn't just laying out on the floor.
And with that, the Paratroopa joins us.
Hey, wow. So, yeah, I know I tried to bomb right into Zelda's room by accident, and that was kind of my bad. The rest of that was not my fault. That was interesting.
That was a tough 9 there. I mean, I have to say, you did well. We didn't even click in our head the very first time when you walked in there. I think we realized after the fact that that room to the right was the Triforce room, but, again, you weren't going to necessarily catch that right away, so very nicely played.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, when I went to the vertical shoot room, I actually left without looking, but I heard it. And then, 2 rooms later, my brain is like, hey, do you remember when you heard that shutter noise? Do you think that might have been a little suspicious? And I had to actually go back to confirm it. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, because we saw you do that, and what went through my mind was that you went back to confirm what you thought you had seen.
Yep, that's right.
And when you first started walking, we actually thought you had caught that, and so you were heading down with the hopes of bombing left to get through, and then you went back to double check, so...
Yeah, and then I went to double check. And then all of the routes were cut off, so that was fun.
Well, you made it through. You found the one staircase that helped you?
Eventually. I don't know if it was a magic staircase situation. It still could have been there could have been a route up to the right, the top right and then up. But I figured it would be quicker to just use a staircase. And it almost was at first. I was really hopeful when I found the first one.
Yeah. And then you found the tea room and all things just dissolved at that point.
First time I accidentally used too many bombs, find those whiz robes. And then I bombed to the right because I made a mapping error and I thought that I was actually above Zelda. So I bombed to the right and that didn't work, obviously. So then I had to go leave, get bombs, come back. And then I did the ladder clip again thinking, oh, this has got to work. And then it didn't.
I think what happened based on the Dave pulls off the 8th Triforce right now, so he's ready now to be able to go to Ganon. I think what actually ended up happening is, it's happened once in a while to me, is if you do the ladder clip on the T thing, you can actually position yourself where you actually put the bomb above the hitbox of the bomb wall.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It's very rare. I always forget about it.
Yeah, I kind of thought it looks like the bomb's placed really high, but it should work. So
yeah, they all skew low on NES. That's the reason that when you're placing the bomb, it has to you get some wiggle room, and that's why you can put it almost like a full square away potentially, but it tends to go high.
What Fred was saying during the course of the commentary was that there's always 2 exits in that tea room. One in the south is always guaranteed, but the other one is either to the left, to the up, and to the right, and you couldn't go right or left.
Huh. So north should have been guaranteed, are you saying?
There should have been a door that would have bombed there. As I said, my best guess is that you placed the bomb after the clip. I'd have to go back and confirm that, but basically you end up placing the bomb above that. So yeah, in theory you definitely played that right, just as I said, you glitch in the game that pushes the bomb too far north.
On the other hand, I did use my knowledge knowing that you never need to go, never need to ladder clip through the tea room to get to something important. So I knew that there would have to be another way to Zelda.
Exactly. Well played.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well done. What did you feel when you went through that level 1?
Somewhat happy, but also somewhat worried because it's oh, this is going to be a really fast race now. I have to play really well. Because when you see the bow and the silver arrows that early, in 1, 1 was in Death Mountain, so I assumed that maybe Dave wouldn't go to Death Mountain until later. But other than that, I'm oh, we're going to find all the good items now, so it's a race. Like I can't spend a lot of extra time. So actually a little bit nervous is how I'd say I felt.
And of course, the ladder being the Armos item.
Yeah, that was fun.
It makes you wonder if you could ever have more seeds like that.
Yeah, that would be nice, I guess. But like I said, sometimes I don't mind finding the ladder in a tricky place just because it's tricky for everyone. So.
And then you made the decision to go through 2. What was your thought process as you were full clearing 2 in search of that item?
So I'm trying to remember. I went to 2 once early. I don't think I had a sword yet. Then I came back. So I came back originally because I wanted to get the bomb upgrade. Because I had a lot of money to waste, and I actually forgot where the blue ring was because I didn't mark it on my map very well. That ended up being a good thing because then the red ring was in 2. I was looking. I was hoping that maybe the item in there would either be the red ring, the magic key, or the wand. So I was hoping that maybe I'd find it on the way north. Either that, or I could find some keys. So there's still a lot of good possibilities there. Heart container was still MIA as well. So I figured that there were a lot of options for me to find something good in 2, so I decided to spend a little bit more extra time there.
And it paid off as you found the red ring in there.
Yeah, that I was happy about.
With the recorder on the coast, the ladder as an Armo statue, the bow and arrow in 1, and the power bracelet in 3. You were in the driver's seat at that point in time as far as items were concerned.
Yeah, that must have been one of the fastest anyone's highlighted almost all of the items, and I'm suspicious the raft was likely an 8. So I got the hint that said fire the arrow to get it, and there was a Goma blocking a staircase there.
Yeah,
We will
I didn't
confirm
bother
that.
for it because I had all the dungeons anyway.
The only other thing we could confirm was that scrap metal was in 5, the silver boomerang.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I kind of wanted to get that item, but then I couldn't for some reason. I can't remember why.
They had like legs and whiz robes, yeah. It was actually something that I mentioned to the chat just for, again, future reference if you ever did need to clear a room like that. The enemies always spawn in the fixed order every time regardless. The game only keeps track of number of enemies as you leave and come back. And the first enemy that spawns in a mixed room with whiz robes like legs is a like. So if you need to, you can always enter the room, kill all the likes that are present, and if you feel like any orange whiz robes, leave and re-enter. Yeah, I think the first one will always be a like. If you leave 2 enemies, then you'll still have a blue whiz robe around, but you can repeat the process if you need to. There'll always be 1 like at least to kill every time you come to the room. Enter the room.
Okay, that's good to know.
And joining us is also the Dave. Good effort through the run.
Oh,
Hey,
thank
Dave,
you. Thank you. I made a lot of mistakes through that, but I thought it was a pretty good run overall, and it was a really good seed.
Yeah, that was a really fast seed.
One thing that we noticed was as your persistent attempt to clear those dark nuts in level 6, what was going through your mind on that, Dave?
I just didn't think about the items I had, and I knew that was probably the item room. So, you know.
You didn't full clear it, right?
No.
Well, news for you is a troll staircase.
I did know that because I knew it was going to be a troll staircase because I tried to bomb up in the tail and knew it was the single room, but I thought that maybe that was the item behind those dark nuts.
Yeah, that's understandable. Bow and silver arrow in 1. What was your thoughts when you found both of those?
Oh, that was just amazing. I mean, you can't have a better one than that.
It was a very good effort through that run. Now, what lessons are you going to take with you as you move on into the bonus bracket?
Not to try to clear every level, especially if you get a seed like that. Try to fight better. My fighting was a little weak, but other than that, I think maybe I might have a shot in the losers bracket.
I think you do. You were showing some really good fighting there. I mean, you were fighting against those like Dark Knights was really good, especially considering the fact you were going in there with green tunic and 3 hearts, clearing almost the entire full room there. I mean, you have 1 hit of error in that situation, and you were almost completely clearing those rooms each time. So I think you've got a lot of potential there, and it's going to be a very dangerous match for your opponent in the next round.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think it was a very, very interesting seed, as I was noting to Paratroopa in regards to what you found in 1, what you found in 3, what you found on the coast, and what you found under the Armos.
Yeah, and that was another big mistake. I forgot that I'd picked up the recorder on the coast, so I walked a lot of places that I should have been whistling, I'm sure.
I'm going to say honestly, it is a learning curve, and all you can do is just take the lessons that you learned out of this and use them well when you go up in the next round.
Oh, yeah, it was a great seed, and thanks for the race, Paratroopa.
Yeah, GG.
Good. Yeah, GG, man. Good luck in the next round.
Yeah, you too. I'm glad I didn't underestimate you, because sounds like it was a pretty close race.
Yeah.
It was, as pretty much both of you were starting to clear up. I think you both had 7 Triforces close to the same time, or close to it.
Yeah, pretty much the whole way you guys were within 1 Triforce of each other, I'm pretty sure.
I had to leave that 3 early because I just didn't have a good way to deal with the orange rose robes at the time. They would have been like a 1-hit KO, so I just left and came back later.
And that was definitely a wise decision, especially when you're on green tunic with sword, 3 hearts, and the old shoot room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like, never mind.
Yeah. Thankfully, I had bombs there, so I could kind of hide in the door and clear it out in 3.
Now, next up for you, the Dave, you're going to be going up against Johann Howitzer. What do you know about him?
Nothing really. I did get to catch his first race, and it seems like it'll be a good run between us.
It should be a lot of fun. And Paratroopa, you're going to be going up against Karakarn.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. That should be a good match. I think that Karakarn has like a slight advantage, just in experience, and his times are a little bit more consistent, but that's going to be really close, I think.
And I'm going to say this, Paratroopa. I've been watching you through some of the races as I was trying to develop my racing here as well. You definitely have grown over the last few weeks as this tournament started getting planned out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've only had a few weeks. My first Zelda 1 randomizer ever was on April 23rd, so that was like 6 weeks ago. And I just learned it really fast. I've done randomizers before, so I'm like, I kind of know the deal. But yeah, I just like practice like every day, like 1 or 2 races, and I've learned a ton of technique from people. People have been really cool about like just telling me, like, oh, here's how you do this. Like, oh, here's how you do the ladder clip. Like Jake Oper taught me how to do the block clip. That was really helpful. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff like a month ago.
Well, it's definitely been great seeing you develop the skills that you have. Anything else you want to say, Fred?
I think we're good right now. I mean, you guys have both been playing really well. I've been seeing, as you said, a lot of improvement out of both of you. And looking really forward to seeing you guys both in the next round. It's going to be really exciting here. Great job.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I think we're just